Every application needs a way to control what users does and what they can do in it. That's where authentication and authorization comes in. Authentication checks if the user is who he say he is, and authorization is whether he can do stuff or access information. So we're going to use something called JSON Web Token to authenticate our users. So it's a bit like when you go out from a nightclub for a cigarette. You pay to get in and you're there, and then you want to come out for smoke. You just go to the entrance, the security will give you like a stamp in your arm, and then you can come back and just show that stamp. That's the JSON Web Token. That's that stamp over there. You don't need to go through the cashier again to pay the entrance to get in. It's similar to like you don't go through the signing again. You already have your stamp. You can come and go as you please. So that's what the JSON Web Token does. So let's create one and we see better how it works. We first need to install JSON Web Token. So let's open up a terminal. I'm going to install JSON Web Token. And this is going to be a model method that we're going to create for our users. So in the resource, the model, just after our toJSON model, let's create another user schema methods. And here, let's say generate auth token. You can name it whatever you like. So this is going to be a function. Here we need a function because we need to access the user object from this model. So we cannot use arrow function. So let's call it token. It's going to be a JWT, and we need to import this one. So you on the top import JWT from JSON Web Token. We're also going to need the config because you need the configuration. So JWT, we're going to use a method called sign that comes with it. And here it takes the information that you want to pass. This library is going to assign a token. It's going to create this token for us. And inside we can put whatever kind of information we want. Before this kind of tech, most websites would use a cookie to store this information for the session. But the problem with that cookie is very small. It doesn't fit much stuff. This is where both differs, the cookie-based authentication and the token-based authentication. The cookie, you would put something like a session ID, so you could identify the user authenticated to it, and then you delete that cookie, then the authentication is gone. For the token side, we can add more information. So here we're going to add the user ID, and you can also add, all of this if you want, but the problem is that this token is going to go back and forth with every request. So the bigger you make the token, the more bandwidth we consume to run your application. So let's create an object over here. And here I'm going to add the user ID. Remember, it's underscore because that's how Mongoose stores the data. If you see over here, that's ID, underscore ID. That's how Mongo stores the data, not Mongoose. So this dot ID, because you're getting the user object from this model. Let's also add if admin. So let's keep it simple. We can also add like who the person is and what they can do. Keep it simple and short. If you want, if your application needs it, you can send more information. Totally up to you. So after we create our object with our user, we need some kind of secret key that is going to be used to sign your token. So let's actually create it first. We go to config. And as we have this one in here, let's create because we don't need this one. So JWT token, JWT secret. And you add it like that. Same for the production. Let's do that one now so we don't forget. And now we can go to our .env and create our secret over here. This can be actually anything you want. My secret key is fine. This is particular to your application and is used to sign your token over here. So config secrets. Secrets, JWT secret. Okay, and now we created this token, so we just need to return this information and call this generate function. Let's first add in the sign up, the user's controller, get user, create user. When the user sign up and then we save it, if everything is successful, we can actually call that function user.generate. We need to put this in a variable because we need to use it now on the response over here. Because as I mentioned, the token is going to be passed on every request. So we need to respond with that token down here. And this is how you do it. You send your status and you send the information. You can also send the headers, the response.headers. Like that. And here you add the information. The name of the token, it can be anything. If you take a look in your application, here I'm on the first I need the server running. I'm on Firefox, so I have this little thing over here that comes built in. So if you go on headers, you can see all this stuff over here. Content type. These are the basic ones. And there was that middleware I mentioned before on the resource middleware. This one here, helmet, is going to set some of that stuff for you, which is this one's in here. This middleware is going to add stuff to your header over here. And this one, the ones that started with X, they're custom. And this one is probably added by the Express framework somewhere. So we're going to add one in here for our authentication. And here you can pass the name, anything you like. I'm going to call it access token. And it takes the name and also the token. That's why you're creating the constant in here to hold the generated token. So when you save it, let's run it so we can see what happened. So it's a post request to sign up. Post. I'm just gonna create a quick user here. Now press enter. So we're getting an error, and that's because I made a mistake. We call it auth token, and here's I just put generate token. So if I run it again, I've got a duplicated error. Let me just drop quick my database over here. I'm gonna run it, and here is our access token. The user was created. There we go. Password's hashed, and I got my token on the header.